Hi folks, Dino Bob here, back in Lost Kingdom and in the Jurassic portion of the park. We're going to start out, as is semi-traditional for this zoo, in the front plaza and move into the main Lost Kingdom plaza. This time we're going to go to the left, of course, toward the Jurassic. Walking through the park, ignore the air walking guest. Don't know what that was all about, but he was having a good time walking around in circles there. Out through the gate on this side, Scaletosaurus is over there on the left, and Dilophosaurus here on the right. We're going to go through this arch and head toward the Morrison area of the Jurassic. And our next animal, which you saw from the header card, is Torvosaurus. You can see platform building here, and we're going to stop in front of it first and take a little bit further down the road there, where I put in a amenities plaza. Then we're going to cut to a speed build, and the building was already in place, and I'm sorry I don't have video of it going up. It's a pretty straightforward build. I had intended to put a restroom on the right. It proved to be problematic because I forgot I was putting in the elevator, which is what you're seeing now, the implied elevator anyway, for getting our challenge guests up onto the platform so they can see the animals. So fairly straightforward kind of thing. One of the Torvos there did give me a little bit of scale for the standoff that I'm building. The idea is we don't want that beastie grabbing any of our guests. Maybe I should have made it a bigger standoff. I suppose if someone was reaching their hand out, he could probably take it off. But we'll just, for the moment anyway, pretend that our Torvosaurs are much better mannered and not interested in such not terribly nutritious tiny snacks. I was playing some games with some of the trim pieces to create something other than blank walls for this building. Unfortunately, the set of pieces doesn't include really good corners for those things, so I had to do a workaround there. And jumping in here, you already got a glimpse of where the restroom's going, but this portion was done when it was still in the old position. But I left it in because I wanted to show off some of the trim work I was doing, and also the stuff I was doing to set up the railings for the stairways. So it was once a large restroom, and it's going to become a small restroom because there's not quite enough space on the other side to fit the module in there. So smaller restroom, and you see it going in now, and pulling over the trim work, the tile trim work, to the other side, and reusing it for this side of the building. Obviously requiring a slight adjustment of where the door is and whatnot. And then the large restroom needs to go away and a wall put in there. So that had to be done, and the bench needed to be moved. A lot of little touch-ups as you do when you change your mind partway through a build. But a lot of times I'm building that way, sort of making it up as I go along, usually with a general idea, but then the details need to be worked out and things change. So I doubled the trim piece so it's got texture on both sides, and then put them back to back and let them be the railing for this platform. I didn't mind too much spending time on what I was doing in this platform because I'm going to be reusing it on the other side of the habitat. A little bit of railing there for the guests who are coming up on that side of it. And the other thing you won't see a build of is the shade piece. Pretty straightforward. It's just roof pieces and a stretched out tapered column to support them. And this whole building is then duplicated over to the other side. And on the other side, of course, I had to make some adjustments because the walls for the habitat don't line up. That's the view down toward where that amenity plaza is, but we're not going to deal with that this time. Up we go onto the viewing platform, and we actually have a Torvosaurus in sight already. The animals were being very cooperative while I was videoing this. You can see we've got the information sign and the upper level of the elevator, and some seats for our guests to sit, sometimes in the shade, while they look out on the habitat. So let's get a little closer and a little taller and look out. I'm going to get a roar. I guess he's cheering the thing saving. There's both of them out there. We have a male and female in here. They're not crowded at all. It's a pretty big exhibit. And they seem to be happy with it. They certainly were active for the most part while I was working on this. Over on the right, you can see the roof of the other viewing area. Its information sign is blinking on and off, as information signs do sometimes, at least at this stage in the game. So the care building was just on the right side of the screen there. You can see it in this aerial view, and it shares the same building with the Dilophosaurus habitat. So give you a good idea of how big this thing is. The lower left corner where the blood pumpkin is elevated and would allow the animals to look out over the river for the future. You see a temporary bridge and the amenities plaza. That is copied from the one that's out near the front of the park and adjusted to suit its particular location. We'll probably take a closer look at that when we go across the river in a future episode. So we've flown over the exhibit and coming down to land at the other viewing area, and that way leads back to the Coelophysis exhibit and the map north gate from the central plaza, and this side is the unconnected path that will lead to a second river crossing, so that a loop can be made in the future. So why don't we go up onto this one and get another view into the habitat, the care building over there, with wind turbines so that the power can be distributed to this portion of the park, and look across down the length of the exhibit. I don't see our animals right now, but I will have some. Oh, there they are. They were lying down, being sneaky. I will have some animal video toward the end. Yes, big roar. You're gonna they're answering each other. Okay. They were timing that quite a bit while I was hanging out in this exhibit. Sometimes very closely together when one roared and then the other. Sometimes a little bit more delay. But certainly not standing around like the Tyrannosaurs in last week's video. These guys definitely got their show off for the guests in play. No, I think he's sniffing us. Or she's sniffing us. There's no dimorphism in this genus. Sorry about that. So it's a little bit harder to tell the boys from the girls. Doesn't care if we're up here. Okay, be that way. Just be that way. I had fun doing this exhibit. A lot of the plants went down with the usual brush and relatively minimal readjustments. It started out very flat but I came back and raised the central part. I've been hoping to do a better screening job between the two viewpoints. It didn't work out all that well, but they're sufficiently far away that they don't really impinge much on you. Bye! Torvosaurus going somewhere else and slightly downhill, as you can see. So let's pop up again, give you a sense of where it is in the park. You can see the Dilophosaurus habitat over there. And this one, you may recall if you saw the earlier video, was originally designed to be two separate habitats, one for the male, one for the female, with a closable gate. And the gate is always left open for the purposes of this park. So they will wander to both sections as they feel like it. So pretty happy with that habitat, and now we'll get some time to play with our animals. In the next one of these Lost Kingdom videos, I expect to be over in the other side of the park again, in the Cretaceous area, and putting in some more of our hadrosaurs. And that's going to be a pretty big exhibit, though they tend to like to have their space, so it'll take a little bit of time for me. The video will probably still be no more than this, but if you saw the last Lost Kingdom episode where we added Parasaurolophus, you probably got a glimpse of its care building, which it's also similar to this one. We'll be sharing with other animals. They'll be divided, of course, but the staff will share the building. And so that's partially built. I just need to finish it out for the new animals. So, shake your head. Torvosaurus is a Megalosaurid. Nice positioning there. Looked like you were rubbing your jaw on that tree, which is, at least in their earlier stages, a kind of theropod that we tend not to hear much about, because an awful lot of the European specimens, which is where they were named from, are very fragmentary. And here he is checking out a viewing platform. Yeah, impressing the guests, or if there were any guests, maybe impressing them. And I suspect there would be some kind of hot wire on that spacer bar to discourage them from any hand nipping. But it's kind of too small to put into the game, and so we'll just have to imagine that. The water is flowing through from the Dilophosaurus exhibit, and that all connects up to another portion of the river out behind the Coelophysis exhibit. Trying to keep the water, when it's a landscape feature like it is here, connected. Anyway, we're coming up pretty much to the end of the video. Sun's going down here in Lost Kingdom Park, and our animals are getting tired and starting to go to sleep. Hope you had a fun time stopping by today. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, you know the drill. Dino Bob signing off for today. Be kind to each other out there, and take care of yourselves. Bye now.